everyone, this is Georgia from imore.com. Welcome to our weekly show on everything iPhone and iPads. From news to reviews to helping how-tos, this is iPhone and iPad Live. It's April 18th, 2012, and joining me tonight is the co-host of Iterate and faux hawk wearer himself, CIO of Nickelfish, Seth Clifford.
Hey, Georgia, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm tired, to be honest. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Well,
I'm always tired, though.
I hope the show energizes you in a good way.
And how are you doing?
I'm okay. I just finished a lovely dinner and I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Also joining me is the editor-in-chief of iMore, Mr. Rene Ritchie.
Georgia, thank you for having me once again on your noble and illustrious show.
Yeah, it's not my show, but thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like illustrious.
Okay, excellent. We'll stick with that then. Mellifluous, how's that?
And of course, I would like to say hello to the terrific, amazing chat room.
Hello, chat room. How are you tonight, chat room?
Yes, we have all of our people there. Hello. Hello, Jessica, Gringo Voodoo, Sock, Triple J.
Chat room is in full effect, yo.
J Baby, Paul, Travis, yeah.
One day Seth's going to lose it and just say, like, chat room, throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just do. It's just going to go downhill from there.
That's entirely unlikely.
What, you, come on, let your inner beastie boy go.
Hello, Lloyd.
So what's up, Georgia? What's going on?
Well, let's quickly run through some of the meta that's happening on the site right now.
Cool.
Leanna did another fabulous iPhone, how to take dreamy photos of your newborn baby.
Yeah, that was almost terminally cute. I almost died from the cuteness of that.
It is really cute.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it I can see how that can happen.
They're like newborns, and they're like just all like, it's like cinnamon buns when they're fresh from the oven. They're kind of all crinkled up and delicious.
Cinnamon buns.
Yeah.
Crinkled up and delicious.
Yep.
There's your show title.
Crinkled up. All right, awesome.
Crinkled up and delicious. Yes. I love the one of the foot. It's just really cute.
Yeah, Leanna's got mad
baby feet
photo
are
skills.
Cute. Adult feet, not so much. Not into the feet thing.
Right.
But baby feet, very, very cute.
I'm getting too many show titles now.
Ali also did a how to fix the speaker on a Verizon or Sprint iPhone. How would you know if your speaker's even busted? I'm just going to say.
It ain't working. How's that?
Yeah, that's how you know.
I can't hear it. It
no
might just be the way the
sound coming
speaker's supposed to be.
I can't tell if it's not working. I can't hear it.
Couldn't hear it in the first place.
Yeah, but she's like, this is another one of her ninja tips where she shows you how to physically disassemble an out-of-warranty iPhone, get a replacement part, and install it yourself. It is awesome, uber handy.
I love it. I love looking at the how-tos. It's so cool. Show truly how your tech works. So I watch them, though. I'm never going to actually attempt to fix the speaker.
But that's fine. I mean, it's like Home and Garden Network or TLC. I can't fix a house, but I can watch people fix the hell out of a house and enjoy it.
It's like, watching iPhone prawn.
Yes.
That's just cool.
Yes, it is the ultimate, because it's gadgets and how-to. It's like mind-exploding.
So, Rene, tell me, what, I love the photo for it. Editor's Desk, what was up this week?
Yeah, actually, I had a good photographer for that photo.
Great.
Yeah, that was actually, George took that photo. And people are saying that I'm the first homeless guy in line for the new iPhone. So thank you. Thank you, community. I appreciate that.
If you don't know, you have to take a peek at the photo for that.
Yeah.
It's the beard, Rene. It's the beard.
I hope not. So I just spoke briefly about iTunes. It's been in the news lately. We might do a roundtable on it, but some people are hating on iTunes, and I'm just reminding them that iTunes is the only piece of software that Apple really... there's Safari, but it's the major piece of software that Apple has to keep cross-platform because it's the only way for the mass majority of Windows using iPhone and iPod and iPad people to sync and buy content for their devices. And because of that, it is a monster and unfortunately has to be a monster. We talked about upgrade pricing in the App Store, and we might actually do a developer roundtable on that. We might get David Barnard and a couple other people and talk about that. And the widescreen iPhone, which we're going to talk about later on this show. So it should be interesting.
Cool. We also went through what to get, new iPad versus the MacBook Air, which is a question that we get a lot.
Yeah, some people don't see the overlap, Seth. They're like, oh, they're completely different. One's a laptop and one's an iPad. But they were both sort of Apple's answer to the netbook. and they really appeal to a higher end and lower end. And in the middle, there's a bit of an overlap in which one you should get.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're going to use it for and how you anticipate using it. Like right now, for instance, the MacBook Air doesn't have any kind of cellular connection short of tethering to a separate device. So if you want always on connection, in that case, the iPad's your thing. But I mean, that's just one of many, many differences between them. So I mean, they're both great devices. They're fantastic. There's so many different reasons you could pick one or the other, or if you have the means, pick both.
And may I compliment your video editor on this one, Georgia? He is doing an increasingly outstanding job.
My hubby.
Yes.
Yes, he's like enjoying it.
He's like a Borg. He's like assimilating video techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
It shall
Good job.
not be this way.
Yes.
Yeah. I just nod and smile. Okay.
You're the talent, right? You just show up and talk.
I'm just showing up, like,
Slam yourself in the trailer. Won't come out without green M&Ms. I know how that works.
Exactly. Seth, can I ask you, what would you get if you had neither?
I think I would probably get... Now, all right, so in this theoretical nonsense world where I don't have either of these devices, do I have a computer at all?
Does he have a goatee like Evil Spock?
No. Do I have a desktop computer?
Yeah, let's say you have a desktop.
And if I had a desktop, I would probably go with an iPad because I think that the app market is, very compelling and ever growing. And I think if I had a computer I could go back to if I needed it, it would be fine. And for a lot of the stuff I do of a mobile nature, it's a lot of like note taking and things like that are very easily and really well manipulated with an iPad. So I think if I had neither, I'd probably go with the iPad. I think it's a more fun device and more versatile for the things I would do away from a desktop.
Right. And if you didn't have a desktop, I would assume then pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'd have to go for the Air, yeah.
Seth needs his mock.
I need the big gun somewhere,
Yeah, you kind of have to, depending on what you're going to use it for. And yeah, tell us what you think you would get, and leave a comment. It's kind of interesting to see how people fall on it. iPhone 4S and iPhone 4S and iPhone 4 free color conversion giveaway, which is the backplating. Not the front plate.
There is Allie is doing this giveaway in conjunction with one of her suppliers, and you can basically she has a ton of colors, and I'll put the giveaway details in the show notes, but there's blue, red, pink, green, and you can either do it yourself or have it done for you. So it's an awesome contest. Make sure you enter it.
Okay, I have to say it. I absolutely mocked out when I saw the commercial. Celebrity iPhone 4S with Siri commercial with Samuel L. Jackson, and of course also Zoe Deschanel. But the Samuel L. Jackson one, I just that was so cool.
Shall we play them?
Oh, not even just a maybe, definitely. I'm so sad I don't get to watch the bloody thing, but yeah, play it.
Cancel golf today.
It's off your calendar.
Good, because it's date night. Find me a store that sells organic mushrooms for my risotto.
This organic market looks pretty close to you.
How many ounces in a cup?
This might answer your question.
Oh, I knew that. And remind me in an hour to put the gazpacho on ice.
Here's your reminder. Shall I create it?
Yeah, unless you like hot spacho. Siri,
Sam,
you can take the night off.
if you say so.
That was, there was part of me deep inside that wished that because of Pixar and everything, he would have picked up Siri and says, "Where's my super suit? Woman, where's my super suit?" But I mean, for what it is, it was really good.
I thought it was good. I think that he should have used, again, probably in worry to not get sued, but it would have been cool if he had used some of his most famous lines.
It is a television commercial, so we can't have Marcellus, what does Marcellus Wallace look like? Or, we can't
the
have...
the Plane one would have done it for me.
What do you
He has so many great lines.
You want to see the other one?
Yes, please.
All right, 1 second.
It's a good thing Siri doesn't say what too much.
Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you. All right, here's the next one.
Is that rain?
Yes, it appears to be raining.
Oh. Let's get tomato soup delivered.
I found a number of restaurants whose reviews mention tomato soup in that deliver.
Good. because I don't want to put on real shoes. Remind me to clean up tomorrow.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Excellent. Today, we're dancing. Play, shake, rattle, and roll.
So, I mean, Apple has used Will Ferrell in rather edgy iPod commercials before, but they very rarely use celebrities. Why now?
That's a really good question because no doubt with the sales, they don't need to. So it seems like money spent. Again, they have a lot of money to spend, so maybe it's just because they can. I think that this is a difference between Mex says from the chat room. It's Tim Cook. I think it is. I think it's a difference in.
No, but again, Steve Jobs had Will Ferrell making incredibly edgy, like much more edgy commercials than this for the iPod. And they had Jeff Goldblum.
Stage. It's not a necessity. I don't know.
They had Jeff Goldblum doing Mac commercials. I mean, they have done it before. It's just, and the other thing is, Seth, why does Siri work so well for Santa, so well for Samuel L. Jackson, so well for Zooey Deschanel, and kind of hit and miss for the rest of us?
I think probably for the same reason that if we all went to a fancy restaurant in a big city with those people, Santa included, they'd all get tables before us, you know?
Oh yeah, no one's making Santa wait.
Right.
It's not the magic of editing, right?
Serious celebrity treatment.
Are they like filming these on top of the data center? Is that why they're getting such good results?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had Siri ever be that responsive. I think if it was that responsive, I probably would pass out from shock.
I mean, it's great. It's just not 100% reliable.
And also, they know exactly what they're going to say beforehand. The problem with Siri is that sometimes you will use a different term, and Siri gets stuck into one of the terms that they're already in. It does have a script that has to go with it for Siri to work perfectly, and if you understand that or spend the time to practice it, you can usually hit it up.
Yeah, it's
But
sort of
if
like
not, or if I answer too quickly, it's missed part of what I was saying. It always frustrates me.
it's sort of like in the early days of the Palm when they tried to make it actually recognize handwriting, and it just never could. And then you had to learn what was that called, graffiti, in order to write properly. Like
I was really good at graffiti.
Yeah, and Siri's
I
the
was
same
so
way.
good
You
at-
can't just talk. You have to speak Siri language, and once you speak Siri language, your accuracy goes much, because it's easier for a human to adapt than a machine always.
Well, she won't.
No. And you know what? It's funny because she should have said, say, bling, bling, say what again? Bling, bling. What? Bling, bling, say what again? Bling, bling.
I'd love to see him shoot the phone after.
Or the phone would have shot him. You just, like, oh, never mind. I'm not going to go there. So, but again, Apple is making the cornerstone of their advertising a service that is in beta and does not work as well as advertised. And that is not the usually Apple, like the iPad commercials are all what makes the iPad delightful. And the iPhone 4S commercials, you might get it, try this, and it worked for Samuel and not for me.
So you think it's setting up people for disappointment?
Yeah, it's just not the usual Apple. I mean, I understand it's really the only huge differentiator between the iPhone 4S and the iPhone. I mean, the camera is sort of, but it's harder to show that in a commercial. This is really excellent, an excellent demo. It's an excellent commercial, but it's just not. I don't think it's the right thing to be advertising. I understand why they're doing it, but I think in the end it will disappoint some people.
Yeah, I think that they're more actively trying to position the iPhone as a lifestyle device as opposed to what some of the other phones on TV come off as, which is basically pocket computers. You know, like obviously the iPhone is fully capable of doing all those things, but very few other devices, I think, take the approach of this will actually change the way you live your daily life on a personal level. I mean, obviously they show like, oh, I'm getting email and I'm doing maps and things like that, and that's something that people can relate to. But the whole Siri campaign has been about like, you know, you're going about your business, and there's this thing that supposedly reduces friction in your day and allows you to do more much more easily. And I think that that's been kind of a recurring message in the past couple months between iCloud, just like snap a picture and your pictures show up everywhere, and the music and all that stuff. It's all part of a larger message of we're just making things easier. This is all part of making things easier. This is why you want these devices.
And Do you think that this, again, since they're putting so much money into advertising Siri, is this a pretty good bet that they're going to spend the time and effort to make Siri a more user-friendly experience?
I'm sure they are. I mean, I'm sure they're doing that now,
is it going to
but
be out of beta at some time soon?
But see, this is such a hard service to get out of beta because it just needs data. It needs to do all this to get better. You can't build this inside a factory and release it. It's got to use millions and millions of voice inputs. It's got to continually build a database. It's got to continually refine itself. It's almost like and I don't want to put it in those crazy sci-fi terms, but it's a learning machine, and it's got to be given its time to learn. And hopefully, it'll just get better and better as time goes on.
Do you want to know something strange? My experience with Siri has been that as time has gone on, the complexity of what I say to Siri has increased, and the results have been good in that I can rattle off what I assume will be a completely mangled text message or something, and it gets it like to the letter.
Yeah.
But then when it says, here's your message, should I send it? And I go, yes. I have to say yes like 3 or 4 times, and it often like doesn't hear me or doesn't process yes. And I've tried yes and yup and like
Because
30.
it's a Jersey yes.
Yeah, it must be the Jersey yes. That's what it is. Thanks for thanks for figuring that out for me. No, honestly,
yes.
I don't understand what it is. It doesn't process yes.
Say yes again. I dare you. I double dare you.
Say what
There
again?
are some simple commands that they should spend time and start releasing at some point soon to figure out, just being able to set up reminders so that it listens. The amount of time that it takes Siri to respond, that would be a nice differential. Difference
it's a server-side service, so they're setting themselves up
don't
for.
They have like a gazillion different machines that they could stick?
Oh,
with?
sure, but I mean, like Gmail was down for a good part of yesterday. There's just
I'm not talking about Google.
No, but the minute you make anything on a server, it's gonna you set yourself up for failure. I mean, it's just. I wonder if at some point they could onboard at least really basic stuff to try and give it more of a buffer between the server, so it can at least have basic functionality if the server connection is not perfect.
Setting up a reminder, it does not really have. Couldn't it just be a program that's?
Well, they're using the server to parse your voice. So the server right now is doing all the heavy lifting for the voice parsing. Because it's non-trivial. To understand all the different voices and commands and stuff like that is a huge task. And they're offloading, I believe, 100% of that. I'm not sure about for dictation, but for Siri, 100% of that to the server. And that just means you get that thing where it spins and goes, still working on it. Give me a second. Hold. I got nothing.
Hold.
Yeah.
I think we need more cores.
Yes.
No, seriously. Like, I'm only half kidding. Like, if we had an entire section of the chipset that was just devoted to processing that information and sat outside of all the other operations of the phone, couldn't we really feasibly see that happening?
Get that quad-core chip in there and have, one core for Siri.
Yeah. Dedicate an entire section of the chipset just to voice processing. And
Siri inside.
And put on board everything, all the basic stuff that you would need, like all the setting of the alarms and show me my notes and do a reminder and things like that are little. I'm not talking full email dictation. That probably still needs to go.
But like the word yes, you could onboard the word yes.
Yes, exactly.
You could, but how, again, it just becomes a nightmare of trying to figure out when it would choose to go into that mode. It's probably a lot more effort that's going to go into it. But I'm assuming if they're still spending money advertising Siri, it's not a project. Like, we don't have to worry that it's a project that they decided to give up on.
Yeah, the whole Siri thing. So here's my question to you then, Georgia. 6 months later, I know you haven't personally had your iPhone for 6 months yet, but 6 months later, they're still advertising Siri, still a huge selling device. We did a roundtable. We asked all the Mobile Nations editors, the iMore editors, the podcasters, what they thought of Siri 6 months later. But I want your take. Is it still competitive? And if someone came up to you today and said, should I get an iPhone or something else, or should I wait for the next iPhone, what would you tell them?
Well, since it could be still a little bit of a wait before you're getting your phone, I would say definitely if you need a phone, go get an iPhone. If you can wait, you have a phone that's passable, I would say you could wait until they come out with the next phone. I think that Siri is a little bit I don't use it as much as I had thought that I would use it when I first got my phone. And that is for the exact same reason that Seth came out, is that I become frustrated if it does not work the first time, and there's a certain ratio that people use for, deciding that it's more effort. So if I have to if 3 in 10 to 5 in 10 times Siri is not going to work exactly as I expect it, I'm just leaving it. I'm going to choose, unless I have to do something on the own. It's still easier. I will set reminders with Siri all the time, and I have to say it's pretty accurate to that. So I will choose to use it. Calling, doing different things. I don't use it. I don't use it very much, even for like dictation. I don't use my phone. I'll usually type instead of that, because the typing application I have autocorrect on, because I can't spell for my life. And it works out really well. And even if I miss the keyboard, it will choose to fix the word. Like you can type a mangled word. Just by the approximation of where you are typing the word, it will discern what word you think you're doing. And that's with a pretty good accuracy. It's an amazing phone. I am very happy with it. I'm happy that I upgraded. But slightly let down with the usability of Siri, how much that I actually use it in comparison.
Seth?
So I go through phases where I use it quite a bit, and then I just, for whatever reason, don't use it. And then I kind of forget how I was using it. And so I have to refer to that Talking to Siri book that Erica Sadoun and Stephen put out. And I go through those chapters and I look at that stuff again. And I'm like, that's right, I can do all of these things. And then I get into another habit of using it a lot. And I'm trying really hard to consistently integrate it into a handful of activities that I do. I definitely do reminders with it. I answer a lot of text messages and iMessages with it because driving to and from work, that seems to be when I get the majority of my messages from people. I don't know why. And it's mostly short burst communication stuff. I will occasionally dictate chunks of, writing to it, and I'm always surprised that dictation works as well as it does, and that's always a delight because I'm like, wow, I don't have to actually do that again. I just have to add a period here. But it's one of those things that I really want to use it more, and I'm actively seeking ways to do it. But I think until it performs a little bit better, and until it branches out into being able to do more things that are a part of my daily routine, not just the apps on the phone that work with Siri, but the apps that I really use a lot on a day-to-day basis. Like when I can integrate all of my flows with Siri, I think then it's really going to take off for me.
But would you recommend the phone and or a computing device?
I would definitely recommend the phone.
You wouldn't say wait?
Well, people actually asked me this recently, and I said, well, like you always say, if you need a phone right now, you're not going to be disappointed. Even when the new software comes out, it's going to be fine. You're gonna have a great experience for a long time. But I said, if you can get by with whatever you're carrying, wait it out. Wait till the fall, because it'll probably be another phone then, and you'll be even happier. And then you can keep that phone for 2 straight years if you want to. But I don't think I would not recommend the phone at this point. It's still a very, very solid phone. I use it constantly, and I'm never disappointed with the phone itself.
Even compared to like a BlackBerry something 100 or a Lumia 9000 or a, I don't know, HTC One ZX, that's in?
Well, it depends who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to a really geeky person, I'd probably talk about all those things, but most everyday people that would be asking me that question, I would probably just say, just go with this. You're not going to be disappointed. There's always going to be new games to play, new apps to buy. It's only going to get more integrated and more. I don't know. I'm losing my brain for the word, but it's only going to become more betterer when
Mo better iPhone.
Right. When the software continues to mature and Mountain Lion comes out and everything hangs together, it's just going to be that much, more enjoyable to use. And there are very few other devices out there that can provide like a network effect between your devices, between your computer and your tablet and your phone, the way that iOS can. So it's always been about the software for me. I'm like, if a Galaxy Nexus ran iOS and had all of the hooks that are offered between iOS and OS 10, I would probably use that device because I get around the fact that the hardware isn't quite what I want. I mean, the iPhone 4S isn't quite what I want. It just happens to have all the things that I want to do. So that's it. I mean, it's about the software, and if you care about what you're doing with the phone and not how it looks as much, or oh, I want a bigger screen, or if there's not something else that you're looking for, the software trumps everything.
So Rene, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar. I would tell almost anyone to get an iPhone just because it's the phone for 80% of the people, and usually the other 20% know they don't want an Apple product, don't want an iPhone, or know what they want instead of one. So they're not asking as often. People who are asking would usually be better off with an iPhone for many reasons. I mean, the Apple Store is one of them. If you have an Apple Store near you, you have so much support for your device. It's incredible. If you have a non-iPhone, there's no HTC store. There's no real BlackBerry store. There's no real Nokia store. There's a couple of Microsoft stores, but not many. And that support is just so important to especially a mainstream user, and the accessories and the apps and the fact that Apple updates all the phones continuously at the same time. There's just so many things about owning an iPhone that makes it almost like a feature phone for a non-techie person, that it's overwhelmingly beneficial. And if you don't need one now, if you can easily wait 6 months and get more for the same money, but if you need a phone now, I think you can buy. The biggest testament to this is the iPhone 4 is still a competitive phone, and it's been on the market a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And that's crazy. That's insane in today's market, where phones are being replaced with newer versions of the same phone within a couple of months. So I mean, it holds its value incredibly well.
It's so funny. I was reading the Bloomberg article from 2007 when they're speaking of the iPhone being, a novelty device that will only, they'll sell a few. And yeah, it changed the way that we phone.
Those Apple guys are not going to walk in the door and figure this out.
Right.
Well,
there's no way. No one's scared. No one's scared in the market.
It's easy to laugh about that now, but if you really think back to what 2007 looked like when the iPhone came out, it was great, and it was like, wow, this is this awesome thing that just kind of flew out of space, but there was a lot of doubt surrounding that device. I didn't even get the first iPhone because it didn't have apps, and I was like, that's dumb. I'm not buying that. I'm not going to get a pretty phone that can't do other things, and I was dead set against it until the 3G came out. So hindsight being what it is, we can laugh because some of those comments are ludicrous now, but there was a lot of doubt surrounding whether or not Apple could even pull that off, and the cellular market was vastly different than it is now. Like carriers now, as bad as they are now, they are starting to learn their place in the consumer market. In that,
are they really?
They're starting.
Again, Verizon and AT&T own what, 67% of the market? They have a lot of control still.
They have a lot of control, but the whole way that Apple's strong-armed them,
almost exactly the same. Yes, AT&T is unlocking. Thanks, Matt. That's true, but still.
Yeah, when it's not Apple products, they're still crazy. When it's Apple products, they've learned to let go. They hate it, but they've learned to let go.
A little.
Yeah. Maybe I'm actually just seeing it through those, that
Rosy
particular
Apple
lens.
goggles.
Yeah.
So Simon posed this question, and it kind of spun out of a discussion he was having in the forums. And if you haven't been to forums.imore.com lately, you are missing out, because the discussion there is fantastic. And it's this idea of widgets. And Android has had widgets for almost forever. I mean, the G1 had a Google search widget on the home screen. You couldn't use it if the keyboard wasn't out. It would just sit there and flash at you, but it was there. And other, Symbian has probably had widgets since 1812. Various systems have incorporated these things, and Apple really hasn't. With Notification Center, you have a stock and a weather widget now, and Siri has all sorts of widgets embedded within it, like clock widgets, on-off alarm widgets, all sorts of things, but you only get them in Siri. So he was asking if the iPhone and iPad were finally ready for widgets in a more traditional sort of sense, and the the reaction was kind of, I think 30% of people said they should come up with something different, that people don't want widgets, they want glanceable information, and there might be a better solution to presenting that, like whether it's the weather icon updating the way the date icon does. But yeah, I think it's an interesting topic.
What is the actual thing besides that Steve Jobs didn't like widgets, but what do people have, why not have widgets? You have the choice or have them downloadable, and you can choose to have an app on your phone.
So I don't know if there's any evidence that Steve Jobs didn't like them. I think that Apple chose very specifically to have a home screen launcher metaphor to keep it very simple on the original iPhone. And they chose to put anything that was complicated away from the home screen. So like my sister uses her iPhone as a camera that can play music and make telephone calls. She doesn't know about the fast app. Well, she knows about it. She doesn't use the fast app switcher, doesn't use notification center, doesn't use anything else. So it keeps that screen really clear, really simple. My mom can press an icon, press the home button, press the icon. But for us, we can pull down notification center and access widgets, or we can call up Siri and access them.
That's not as easy. Like the reason to have a widget is really its simplicity, that it's there.
Well, it's a complicated system that provides quicker results. So I guess the trade-off is that it makes the home screen itself more complicated, and maybe 20% of your users want that and 80% doesn't. So do you make it complicated for everybody to serve the minority, or do you figure out a solution where the majority of people never know they're there, but the power users can find them?
Well, it's one of the reasons why I have IntelliScreen. Is just that there's a lot of information, in front of me. Really simply, I can see the weather. I could see my stocks, which I don't really care about. I have it up just because it looks cool. You can take a look at a lot of different things very fast, and you can also, customize it to see whatever you want. That's glanceable. I don't have a lot of time in between when I'm doing my sessions. I want to see, what should I wear? Should I bring my jacket? What's going to happen? How are things going?
You can ask Siri, do I need a jacket today? Repeat that, please.
Again, I won't.
Can you say that again?
Siri might not hear me. Say what again? Say what again? It might not answer me properly, and I don't have the time. And plus, I might not be able to speak to my phone.
Seth,
I need it to be glanceable. I need it to be quiet, and I need it to make sure that it works.
Yeah. Yep.
You have a lot of the Android devices strewn around the office, Seth. Do you have a secret lust in your heart for the widget?
I think, like a lot of things, the idea of having widgets is way more attractive than actually having them, because the way I end up setting up Android devices when I do use them for lengths of time is that I will play with everything and set them up and get the screen just the way I want it and have all these different things there just at a glance telling me stuff. And then I start to get tired of looking at them, or they don't update enough, or they're not as valuable as I thought they might be when I stuck them on the home screen. And I start very slowly taking them away. And then I end up with either one that, is very informative, that has one thing that I always want to know, or I have none. I mean, in recent memory, the only one I even really liked wasn't even a widget. It was like a live wallpaper that has like clock and date and stuff, and it's like very subdued and kind of in the background, and that's it. And there were like 4 icons on my screen, and that was it. And I just find that it doesn't map with the way that I use my phones. So even though they're very cool, I get tired of them quickly. So I would love to see them on iOS, but I'm not dying for them, and I don't know that that's going to be the thing that like kickstarts the next phase of iOS interest. I think it's got to be more than that.
Voodoo mentioned that how much do widgets drain battery and consume data?
That's a complicated question. It's like asking how much do apps or push notifications. The potential is devastating if they are poorly coded and or end up having rogue processes. But if everything runs as it should and the OS manages power correctly, then there will be a small impact, but not a major one. It's the same thing with jailbreak too, Georgia. Like if you manage
jailbreak, I don't notice much. I really don't. I can say that my phone does drain faster, but I charge it. Sometimes I have to charge it in the middle of the day.
But you've had to remove tweaks that were causing, like you've had to balance out what you tweak and what you don't. And
yes. Well, again, that's more because the phone's going to crash. And I haven't had that problem for a while. But
I mean, there are like Draw Something on the iPhone drains tons of power. Why? Because it's popular, but it's not particularly good app. So there's all sorts of Skype. Skype is a huge battery hog. So I mean, you're always going to pay. Everything has good points and bad points. And one of the good points about having data always available is that data is updating and running cycles, and it's going to hit your battery harder than not having it. And a good widget will do that as minimally as possible.
we also spoke about the best free iPhone apps.
What a monstrous post.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Monstrous, difficult post, but a really important one because the App Store is so huge and daunting and actually scary at this level. If you're going to search for something, you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time trying out many different applications. So Leanna and everyone, mostly everyone, came together to go through what are the best free apps that you should get now.
And we broke down a ton of categories. I mean, we did about 3 for each, and we went through social networking, instant messenger, education, entertainment, finance, fun and games, health and fitness, kids, music, navigation and location, news, photography, productivity, reading, shopping, sports, travel, and general utility. I think there's like 55 apps covered in this list, and we're going to keep expanding it. It's not done. It's just done for now.
And this is a great place to start. Take a look and give some comments on applications that you think that we might have missed.
Yeah, and the other thing is we tried to make apps that weren't like fake free. There's a lot of fake free apps where you get the app and it's almost unusable unless you make an in-app purchase or you subscribe to some subscription service or you do something else that requires your money in a shady fashion. We did our best to find apps that are absolutely free. I don't
know about you, Seth, but I will turn off an application almost immediately once.
If it's like PBS and begs for money.
That's it. I'm done. I'm just done. I'm like, I don't even want to speak to you about this. Like, I'm just finished. I'll turn it off. I will not play the application.
Oh, yeah. If there's something constantly in my face getting in the way of me actually doing the things I want, that app's gone. Dead to me.
Yeah.
You're dead to me.
It's true. Like, I will pay money to not have that happen, but I don't want to, have it, sent to Facebook and do this. And if I have to sign in to something, anything, even if it's Twitter, which I'm already in, and I have to sign into something in order to get it, I'm angry. Like, I'm just angry. I'm gonna forget.
I would argue that you're an angry person.
Out there.
You're like a miniature Hulk, and these apps just bring it out of you.
It does. It makes me a little bit upset.
So let me ask you a quick question on that point. I think about that too, and it does bother me when the default thing is use the social network to sign in, because I feel like that's a separate experience. I don't want to do that here. I don't want everything connected. I just want this other app to work the way I want. But what do you hate more? Do you hate when apps prompt you to sign in with like the social network login, or create a whole new account that you then have to, mentally manage or keep in 1Password or whatever?
Ooh, that's hard. I dislike both.
Yeah, she doesn't do either. I can tell that right now.
I really don't like. If I have to sign, I don't mind signing up once. If I have to do it once and then it's going to remember it constantly, then I'm fine with that. But if I'm going to have to constantly log in, remember information, it's just a frustration that I don't need. And there's so many other apps out there that I'm not going to have to do that with. And most well-managed apps are not going to stress out the people that are going to be using it. They want it to be easy to deal with the interface. And again, I don't mind paying for it in return for that.
Lately, every time I open Netflix, it says an error has occurred. You must log in again. Then I log in again. Then it tries to get me every time to sign into Facebook again. And I believe they're logging me out just to keep asking for damn Facebook login. And it's not going to happen, Netflix. Forget about it.
Yeah. You know what I'd really like to see? I'd like to see a service that is just a universal sign-on service that you can just create an identity for yourself and use it, that is not
OpenID.
Yeah, well, it's got to be implemented, right? People have to actually use it, and Facebook has stomped all over that, and that is now the universal sign-on, and I refuse to use it. I just don't want to do it.
Well, most places will give you a choice with Facebook, Google, or Twitter now, or sometimes their own account. But it has to it has to be a deal. It has to be a fair exchange. You giving me an account has to give me some advantage that not having an account. You just shouldn't be able to ask for an account to just force me to give you an account to run a thing. But if there's an actual advantage, like Netflix, I have an account because I get to stream movies. There's like a deal. on that. So
Yeah.
I want a reward for not a reward, but it has to be a legitimate requirement to have an account, not just because you want to harvest usernames.
Yeah, and I don't even need it to be much. Even if it's like, we're going
Yeah.
to sync your data back to our server, so if you delete the app, you can log in and get all your stuff back. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'm
But
in.
there's like iCloud and Dropbox for that. I don't need to give them an ID for that.
Well, that's debatable, but that's a whole other discussion.
All right, we're going to have that discussion, Seth Clifford. You're not getting away
Yes.
this time.
Ah, that's fine. Bring it.
All right, let's do that. What else? What was next, George? I'm sorry, I lost track.
Well, we also Draw Something has been updated, and there's a whole bunch of interesting different interface that it deals with. So one is you can go past 100 now.
Can you?
99.
Have we proved? We haven't proven this yet. I want to find out.
Actually, yeah, we
Yeah?
have.
Okay, cool.
We have right now. As I'm going to draw to Rene. What am I going to draw? I'm going to show up now in my little. Oh, it's going to be horrible.
You want me to go on while you're drawing?
Yeah, go on while I'm going to draw something, and I'll send it to you. Oh God, this does.
There's more words to guess, including more celebrity words. Which
I hate the celebrity words, like getting Beyonce. How am I going to draw Beyonce?
a big booty.
I want
giant
someone-
booty.
I want someone to send
no,
me
that
the
could be
picture.
Lopez.
No, there's Beyonce.
Okay.
I want to. Someone send me the drawing of someone like that made Beyonce and it was successful.
You just have to have a finger with a ring on it.
Nice. You can also share something, so you can post directly to Facebook or Twitter without having to screenshot first. You can comment. So like before, I would write something like, "What the hell is that supposed to be, Georgia?" Before I would do my drawing, and now you can actually make a comment. You can save something.
And the nice thing about being able to make the comment is that the comment now comes up. It pops up from like a little tiny text box next to your name.
Nice.
So it sends it to the other person when they have the little annoying every single time it says, draw something.
Rate me 5 stars. Shoot me in the head. Rate me 5 stars. Shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
You can save something, so you can save your drawings, again, without screenshotting. You can also undo. Before, you could tell someone make a mistake, you see the eraser come out, and it would waste my life and waste their life. So now you can undo one line of the drawing.
Yeah,
And
so if you're really working hard on your drawing and then you use the wrong brush, which I hated, I'd use the fat brush and then make something.
it would default to the fat brush. It was so annoying.
You can go back to that and actually, deal with it.
And you can refresh something, so you can do pull to refresh to make sure that all your partners are fully up to date. And it's owned by Zynga now, so whatever that means.
And some people, don't really love it. Again, some people have something against that.
We also, the other big news was that Read It Later has become Pocket. Read It Later was sort of like an Instapaper service, and they've become a little bit more than that because they're focusing beyond just articles. They're also letting you save a lot of videos. I think they said, it's not by any means the majority of their content, but a lot of people are now saving YouTube videos, also pictures. They got an entirely new app for iPhone, iPad, and Android. We had a chance to speak to them last night. We spoke to Nate Weiner, who's the founder of Read It Later, now Pocket. What did you think of this, Seth? Do you think it makes it a more interesting service? Do you think it's still too much of an overlap for you with Instapaper, for example?
I think it's definitely an interesting change for them because I have used and continue to use Instapaper in that way, that if I see YouTube videos and stuff like that, I'll just save them to Instapaper because I know at some point I'll be able to open them up or move the link over or do whatever. And that's just basically where I've been putting everything. The cool thing about the new Pocket apps is that they will allow you to do a lot of that stuff within the app. They will allow you to view photos in a nice little way. They'll allow you to watch videos in a nice way. And it's kind of all pulled together and sorted for you in a very interesting fashion. And I've been playing with it for the past 2 days, and I actually I changed my Tweetbot so I'd be using that service just to see, how it compared. I find myself saving more and more stuff because since I kind of mentally know everything is going to fall in that bucket somewhere, I've been saving more links instead of just going, maybe I'll see that again. Maybe, maybe I'll find that again. I've been just dropping stuff in there. And of course it's because I'm testing, but the apps are really cool. I mean, they really are very well designed.
They're cross-platform, so it doesn't matter what device you have.
Yep. There's a lot to like about them, and they're all over the place. So I'm definitely playing with it. I'm really digging it. I have had some issues though with just articles, like saving articles and having them parse correctly.
Yeah, iMore
So
was a bit of a hot mess when we tried to save articles too.
yeah, I noticed that this morning. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna like. I would never be like, oh, I'm ditching Instapaper for this because Instapaper is a gorgeous app and Marco's a cool guy and I still love it and I still
It's
think
much
that
more
it does.
focused.
That's just it. I have a feeling that what I'm going to end up doing is Pocket is going to be like the place where I bucket everything. And then the things that I want to sit and spend time with, I think I'm just going to send over to Instapaper that way. That's it. Ultimately, if I keep both, that's probably what'll happen.
What's interesting to me is that Georgia is a huge PVR. She time shifts TV like nobody's business, but she's never really gotten hooked onto like PVRing articles to read. Like, do you actually sit down and read an article when you have time? And if you don't have time, you don't read it. But you've never gotten into sort of PVRing your articles.
No, I think that the difference between that is that my feeling is the article's always there. If I want to read it, I'll read it later, and I'll just go back to the site, or I'll save it. I'm just not going to do it.
And if you don't remember it, it probably wasn't worth reading.
Yeah, so I don't really do that.
I do it. I have, for me, it's like widget. Like, I didn't get a chance to say this during the widget thing, but for example, I made a very beautiful widget layout on my Android phone when I still had it and never went to it. I have beautiful dashboards set up on my Mac and I never use it. There's tons, I have like home screens with apps that I never go to because all these things are so beautiful in theory, but in practice, I just don't have time. And Instapaper is a lot like that for me. I save a ton of stuff to Instapaper that I just don't have time to read later, let alone, I mean, I can't read it now, but I can't read it later either because by then there's more and more stuff. And Pocket, I'm feeling the same way. There's a ton of stuff I would love to watch or read later, but I don't have any more time later than I have now. So I think like Instapaper, it'll be a bucket for things that I will still have to go through and very carefully cherry pick from later. Mm-hmm. Very similar to you, Seth.
Yeah, I can't imagine life without these kinds of apps because I do really like going back and like I'll blast through my Twitter feed and just see what's happening and I'll save a lot of stuff and then I might be done with that in 5 minutes and if I've got 15 more minutes before I have to do X, Y, and Z, I'll sit in that time with Instapaper and I'll go through a couple articles and I really enjoy always having something that I know I'm going to be interested in because I have specifically saved it for that purpose. Like
Yeah.
I love those apps.
Georgia, may I show that fantastic furniture article that you blogged about? Video, I mean,
Sure.
that you blogged about?
Yeah.
This is really, I mean, you can't...
You gonna show the video?
Yeah, I'm going to absolutely show the video. Give me 1 second just to pull that bad boy up. And here we go.
Resource Furniture carries the most innovative, space-saving, transformable furniture in the world. We search the world for different brands, different companies that make the highest quality of this type of furniture. In addition to beds, we have many different product lines and types of furniture. We have a new product, which is the transformable ottoman. This is made by a company called Ideal Sedia, and this ottoman in 20 inches, it's your essential ottoman, and it's on a small wheel, so it's easy to move around, and the entire ottoman deconstructs itself and turns into 5 different stools. The next new item we have is the Goliath table.
This one blew my
It's
mind.
a remarkable piece. It's
Yeah.
like an aluminum bridge, and the table extends from 17 inches deep to 10 feet deep and seats 12 to 14 people. The space that you think you need or that you normally would allocate in the dining room that you use rarely. Now, it's space that can be dedicated to something that is actually functional day in and day out. And then when you need a table for your 12 or 14 people, there you have it.
I just
The home
love
office is a
watching
great
it
little
pop
piece.
out like that. That
I
was
mean,
just so
Thinking
sweet.
behind it is
We've
that
spoken
it's
for a while.
something
Like
that
I've
you
complained
see in the
that
living
my
room, and then
phone
you
has
can have
changed
guests
so
over
much since
that
my
you
Trio
can
680,
tuck everything
but my
away,
stupid
and
cable
you don't
box
have
is
to have your
identical
workout, you
from
don't have
10
to have
years
people,
ago, and my
seeing
furniture
the
is
fact that you
identical
work
from
at
10 years
home.
ago
So
again,
this gets
and
all
it's just
your
it's
own
not
business
keeping
work
up.
or
So
your
I'm
personal
thrilled
work
that
out
some
of the way.
companies are finally
We have a new
trying to
system
innovate
called the
in other
Pocket
areas
Board.
and not
It's
just in
unique
smartphones
because
or
first you
computers.
have in one single
That's what I want. I want
you
stuff
have a
that's
hanging
smart,
closet
that's going to
or
be user friendly,
shelf
that's going to
closet,
save definitely space. Again, the more space that you have, the lower your stress levels will be. And to be able to use things in a way, it's amazing. One of the transforming furnitures, it's like a table at one point, and then it folds over, and then it's like a bed.
Yeah.
But everything that was on the table is still on the table. I'm like, there's like a cup and stuff. It was very cool.
Yeah, because they keep the table level as they're changing it to the bed. It's really smart. And I hope that they continue with this kind of stuff. I think that the more stuff that becomes that's the famous Steve Jobs thing, right? It's a phone. It's a phone. It's an internet communicator. It's a widescreen iPod. Why can't it be? It's a bed. It's a desk. It's a sofa. I mean, that absolutely should be true.
We have that furniture. We have that furniture now.
It makes
40
complete
different
sense,
systems that can virtually take any space that's being made right now anywhere on planet Earth.
We also went through the Contega from Pad and Quill, and we have a review. So if you like the book-like design, handmade, very, very stylish, this is, this is going to be for you. Wait, I'm going to see if I have the other one with me. I don't know, I might have given you both, Rene.
I have one, but if you don't have the other one, I'll just throw the video up in the queue later.
Yeah, you can show it up. Sorry, it's somewhere here, but
it's a moleskin. I mean, it's just the new version. There's going to be an actual different design out soon, but these were just the updated versions for the iPad.
Is the way that it fits in, though. The corners being rubberized, it fits really nice, like really securely.
I have something else that you took an incredible liking to. One second, let me just cue this video because this is worth seeing. This one is actually.
Hi, I'm Georgia from iMore, and right now we're going to be taking a look at an Etsy steampunk case from Paul Marsh, and his shop is called Widgets. Here we have the coolest steampunk iPhone case for the iPhone 4 and 4S. This was made by Paul Marsh from Etsy, and his shop is called Blue Juice. He's a model and prop maker from the film industry, and he's been making models.
I'll let him see the rest of the video on the site, but I just wanted to make sure you can tell that it is 3D. It is not a sticker that looks like that. It is an actual molding. No, it's not a sticker, which is different than the other case, that the Han Solo case that we'll be putting up. But it is really three-dimensional. And it's light because it's plastic. It's not metal. A lot of people are wondering, that it must be exceptionally heavy. Oh, there's a jerk in the chat room who's making fun of the way you pronounce Etsy.
Oh, sorry. Etsy.
Yeah. It might have been a co-host of yours.
Yeah, it also might have been a question that other people happened to ask. So I'll thank you not to focus it squarely on me, sir.
There are other people?
You give him a faux hawk and that's it. It's just done.
Yeah, let's just move on. That's a gorgeous case. It really is. I don't even like steampunk stuff, and I marveled at it when you actually sent me the picture.
And they're limited edition. He makes like 40 to 50 depending on how long the mold lasts, and then that's it. That's done. You're getting a different one. So it's very limited edition.
Yes, and he was thrilled. He was thrilled about the change, and he's also changed the amount of space that's around the flash, so it's not going to have as much flashback. There is a slight amount.
Yeah, because they're small run, he can modify them very quickly.
It's cut really close, so he's changed that already.
Oh, J-Baby's claiming that she was the one who was offended because she is an Etsy addict, and she couldn't believe
I'm
that
sorry,
you would...
Etsy.
Yeah.
I will try to keep that up. And here we have the Han Solo.
Very nice. All right, so...
I wanted to just say one more thing before we
do it.
Head off. And here we go. This is another one of the... sorry, I'm taking a look for the other one while I go for the styluses that we've been taking a look at. And here are the Jot.
The Jot?
I'm just going to show you because it's very unusual. But if you can see what it has on the tip. Am I centered, Rene?
Yep.
Awesome.
You're full screen.
So, yeah, on the tip, it has, to differentiate the shape of a fingertip. So that's why it has to be so wide, because that's the...
It's like a little plastic... Instead of having a big, fat plastic knob, it's got a thin head, yeah.
And everyone's, wonders why, you can't have a thin tip. But it's because of the capacitive tip of the phone itself is made for a fingertip, so it has to be wider. It's just not made for using a thin stylus.
Sock Rollin was actually at Macworld with us when we went to the booth, and Leanna was a real hater. She's like, this looks really bad. And then she tried it and she really liked it. And because it's clear, you can actually see where you're putting the tip much more easily.
You can see where the center of the point is with that. And I really liked that. There are some issues definitely with tapping down, and it has the tip. This one works out really well. It's good that we had two. There's another one that's a little bit, it doesn't fall to gravity, and so that's a little bit of a problem.
Oh yeah, the baby one.
Yeah, the baby one does not move depending on gravity. It's a little bit too tight.
Do you have
that falls down?
Do you have the Cosmonaut with you?
I think it's upstairs.
Okay.
So it makes a little bit of a tap.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but we'll, give you a full scope of that. So
Jessica makes a really good point in the chat room. She says some apps don't like it. I was also testing, I don't have it with me, but I was also testing the Nomad brush. And for example, it's horrible with paper. It's not very good with brushes, but it's fantastic with Procreate. So you really have to match the app and the stylus sometimes. It depends on whether you're using it for art, for note-taking, for drafting, for gaming. There's a bunch of different things, and we're actually going to do a showdown, and we're going to look at them in very different categories and try to figure out which ones match which kind of user for which kinds of apps.
Right, and it's interesting to have a brush. It's a very different feel in comparison than having a rubberized stylus or a plastic stylus tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else?
No, I think we did a good job. Should I bring it to an end?
Yeah, let's bring it to an end.
All right. Georgia, where can we find out more about you?
You can find me on Twitter at GeorgiaTIPB. Yes, I'm retro like that. Or on the website, www.imore.com.
And Seth Clifford, sir, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Seth Clifford. You can find me here and on Iterate with Rene and Mark Edwards of Bajango. And if you'd like to see some of the stuff we do, apps and sites, and our work, please visit our site, nickelfish.com.
You could download the iMore app, too. It's a fairly good example of Seth's work, if I do say so myself.
Yes, you could.
Do it. You can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can also find me at imore.com. You can find all of us at imore on Twitter. You can email us at podcast@imore.com or just leave a comment when the show goes live on the blog. We are here each and every week. For all of our shows, go to mobilenations.com/shows. And if you haven't already, please go to iTunes. Please leave a rating. It helps iTunes feature us, and that is just fantastic. If you have an opinion on anything that we have said tonight, let us know. If you think that we are wrong on widgets, if you think that we are wrong on styluses, if you just think that we are wrong and need to be learned and told better, send in an email, and maybe we will talk about it next week. Until then, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. I'd like to thank the chat room for being spectacular, and the iMore Accessory Store for sponsoring us. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.
And the quarterback is toast.